Do you know what scent confusion is? Scent confusion happens when your soap, beard care products, styling products, and cologne are all different fragrances. You end up smelling discombobulated. It's confusing. It's scent confusion. Fortunately, our friends at Beard Brand carry a full line of products for hair, beard, and skin in each of its 6 amazing fragrances. You can find your favorite fragrance and use it from head to toe, finally ending scent confusion. Don't let their name confuse you either. Like me, you don't need a beard to enjoy Beard Brand's products. They are a premium men's grooming company. From deodorant to cologne to soap to beard oil to shampoo and conditioner, Beard Brand has you covered. For the month of December, Beard Brand's running their biggest promotion ever with free products included in your order. Use the promo code Chael, receive free shipping. Visit beardbrand.com/Chael or click on the link in the description below. Dana announced that he is going to trim the roster 60 guys in the upcoming days, weeks. And Bellator just went through this. Bellator's a month ago, 30 guys. And it was not a commentary on those guys. I mean, they were cutting studs. Sean Bunch at Bellator, by example. I remember seeing that name going, whoa. Chris Lencioni at Bellator. Really good fighters. Yoel Romero, the UFC. And what hard decisions, right? Personnel decisions are very hard. Let's back this up. I was a little surprised either organization was cutting anybody. And the reason I say I was surprised, I don't know if either organization's been so busy. Like, if there's ever been a time where you need guys and where guys are getting put to work, and those contracts are tough. It's not quite as easy as some of you might think. Like, generally when somebody got cut, they're on a losing streak, or they missed weight, or they were in violation of this, or their time is just done here, or they're a pain in the ass to work with. Those contracts call for 3 fights a year. And as the promoter, if you cannot offer those fights, and all you have to do is offer them, but if you cannot offer them, you've got to then write the check and send it off. Now, I only bring that to you because these contracts they're pretty tough. From a legal standpoint, there is a cause at certain times where we have to make tough decisions. I just didn't know either promotion was in that position right now because they've been so busy. This pandemic has sprung MMA. I mean, MMA got right down to brass tacks, figured out how to do a bubble, figured out where to do locations, keep everybody safe, write really big checks for testing, but they were putting out a lot of content and a lot of fights. So I remember when Bellator went through this a month ago going, 30 guys, it seems as though all your guys are so busy right now, and the UFC doing the same thing, 60 guys. Okay, it seems like you're doing just as many shows now as you were doing a previous year. So I just share with you, that's where it surprised me. Maybe I need to do a better job of looking at a calendar. I'm clearly missing something. Then you have Yoel Romero specifically. And very tough because, again, it is not a commentary on Yoel. Yoel is a straight-up stud. He is leaving the organization. I don't have the rankings in front of me. I don't even know where to find those damn rankings, but he's got to be in the top 5. Whether he's ranked it or not, Yoel Romero is a top 5 guy in the world. So it's one of these weird situations where you want to show a certain amount of respect to Yoel because you respect him. If you're the promoter, you're looking at this guy who's a total stud, who was sacrificed, who came up a very hard life in Cuba, overcame, escaped, made his life better, and people like him. Seems to be a pretty decent guy. You want to show him a level of respect to what he did. And then you look at it and go, but I have multiple world title fights by example. Multiple main events and co-main events, multiple fight of the night bonuses, and not only multiple world title fights, multiple elimination fights for world titles. I can think of multiple matches that Yoel Romero was in. I can go all the way back to the night he fought Jacare. If he won that fight, and he did, he was going to go fight for a world championship, but he's had a bunch of those fights. His fight with Paulo Costa. I mean, if Yoel wasn't in a world title fight, he was one away, maybe more so than anybody I can think of in recent memory. I only bring that to you because at some point you want to show a guy respect, and you go, but I did. I did show him respect. And then you got to look at shelf life. And the UFC and Bellator are very well known for, we only have guys here who are champion or who can be champion. And that starts to become a question of, well, am I right or wrong? Okay, let's hold the competition under the unified rules, show it in front of the world, see what the judges or the competitors have to say. It turns into one of those things where you don't just dismiss a guy, but every now and then you are given your answer. You were given your answer definitively on Yoel Romero, who, by the way, is never going to return to a championship fight or to an elimination fight for a championship fight just because he had that opportunity so many times. Just one of those things. Pretty good spot to be in if you're Yoel Romero, right? Means you really grabbed that limit and you squeezed all the juice out of it. The other side of the coin is there a place on the roster for a guy to just float around the bracket and be a bracket buster? Stop a top guy on any given night. It's a tough spot. I'm not answering these questions. I'm just suggesting for you that as it pertains to Yoel Romero, it's a tough spot because he is a unique guy. You can't just look at his age of 42, 43, 44, whatever that number is, and dismiss him. Those rules do not apply. That DNA does not apply to Yoel Romero. That is a once-in-a-lifetime specimen. You also don't have to cry in your beer for Yoel Romero. He's one of the good news stories because Yoel will do what Yoel wants to do. If Yoel wants to go into competitive grappling and make a paycheck, all he has to do is put the word out to grappling. He will get grabbed right up. If he wants to go and do some of these silliness, some of these boxing. Somebody suggested on the Underground Forum, I love the idea. Yoel Romero versus Mike Tyson. I loved it. I wasn't against it at all. Is that silly? Is that something you could have done years ago? No. Is that fight going to happen? No. But to the point of Yoel Romero is an attraction. There is something there, and he is very dynamic. He can go and grapple. He can go and strike. He can go land on his feet and go do MMA. Yoel Romero can do and has done and has proven do a little bit of everything. He's a very interesting guy, but I more wanted to bring to your guys' attention. I mean, maybe a congrats to Yoel, right? Everybody's career in some way. In an ideal world, you write off like Lennox Lewis or George St. Pierre. In a more realistic world, you do it on your own terms. This is my last one. I'm done and goodbye. In the colder side of the coin is somebody else decides that for you. I do not believe that Yoel Romero's career is done for the points that I just laid out. All he has to do is raise his hand and somebody's going to throw him in. Absolutely, they will. In multiple different sports, somebody will put Yoel to work. But if he comes out and goes, well, that's not what I want to do. I had one goal, is to be the champion of the world. If I can't be the champion of the world in MMA, then I'm going to go off and then fill in the blank. Raise this kid, coach future generations, go into a totally different venture, and he's one of those guys like Spinks that you just never hear from again. Whatever it is, I think we do owe Yoel a thank you. Get some good Yoel memories. Yoel was fun. Yoel's interesting. Yoel was different. I've never seen an athlete from an X's and O's standpoint as drastic as Yoel at coast, sprint. Coast, sprint. He used to do that in his wrestling days. He'd be in a match was when he was competing, it was 5 minutes long. He'd wrestle 10 seconds of those 5 minutes and get enough points to take him to the Olympic finals. He'd wrestle 10 seconds, coast, boom, explode. Get enough points, won himself a world championship, I believe in 1998. I mean, the guy was something else to watch because you never knew when it was coming. You just knew it was. You didn't know when. You didn't know what trigger was going to hit that was going to make him put his foot down on the gas, but you knew it was coming.